Good afternoon and Jai Hind, dear children. Welcome back to our RRB session. So today, it's been 3 days, or precisely 2 days, I guess, that I had been sharing all the chapters which are coming for your RRB examination to be held on 22nd of July. So we have reached the very fourth chapter, that is from Bombay to Agra. Now, this chapter is written by Aradhya Sharma. Again, she's one of our Sunbeams. She's from Sunbeam School, Leherdara. So before I proceed with her beautiful write-up, I would like to just give you a brief about what is Aradhya, rather, who is Aradhya? Well, she was born in Saharanpur and raised in the city of Nawabs, that is Lucknow city. And she came to this earth on March 6, 2006. And for her, this number 6 has been rather very important. And her mama, that is her mother, is a teacher. And rather, I would say that she was a teacher and now she's a homemaker. And this little authoress, Aradhya Sharma, she loves to read, probably where she got her interest in reading books. Like she loves sad stories, thrillers, okay, and she also likes reading poignant tales about people who eventually find a way to escape their situation. Paulo Coelho's By the River Piedra, I Sat Down and Wept is one of her favorites. And as I have been telling you all that all these writers, they have two things very much common. That is, they love to read and they love listening to music. So Aradhya Sharma is no different from the other authors. Okay. And although music helps her in writing, but silence and calm also play a very important role. Her goal in life is to become an author. Well, she has stepped into that way. And she wants to be a person who plays a major role in the lives of people. And this book takes her one step closer to her goal. As I told that since her dream is to be an author, so she has just taken a baby step towards it. So let's see what she has written in this beautiful story from Bombay to Agra. Well, looking into the very heading of the story, I feel as if it would give me, kind of a journey wherein I would be taken from Bombay, which is, down towards the Western Ghats and all. And then I'll be pushing towards Agra. That means might be I'll be taken to the beauty of Taj, that is the Seven Wonders. So precisely, I'm expecting that from say southwest, I would be pushing towards northwest, right? So it seems to be a very long journey. So let's see where she takes all of us. Sunidhi looked outside the train and saw people hurrying. There was no chaos inside the carriage and no pandemonium inside her head. It was, in fact, tranquil inside the train. So as you know, I surmised that we'll be going on a journey, right? So we are traveling through Rajdhani Express. Yeah, Rajdhani Express certainly has its own magic, she thought. However, as soon as she closed her eyes, she was lost in one thought, or rather a memory. Whatever happened to Alankrita, her childhood friend? Why was she called away from school? And more importantly, why did she never come back? So these were few questions that kept on running in her mind while she closed her eyes, and probably she was traveling through that Rajdhani Express. She opened her eyes and decided to splash some water on her face to make the memory vanish. Even though she knew this would be futile, she stood up, fixed her hair, and walked towards the washroom. She stood up, did her hair like this, and walked towards the washroom. Okay. She passed a woman reading the daily train newspaper. It always caught Sunidhi's eye as it contained unusual celebrity stories. All those page 3, those spiced up thoughts. But this time it wasn't the newspaper that caught her attention. It was a woman. So you see, Sunidhi used to be captivated by all those page 3 stories, those celebrity talks, which we generally tend to see in our own Banaras times, right? But then this time, she was not captivated by that. What caught her attention was the person, the lady who was reading that newspaper. Sunidhi turned back to see the woman's face more clearly and went numb. It was Alankrita, the same Alankrita who was called away from school and had never returned. Oh my God, what a coincidence. Imagine she was thinking about her friend Alankrita, and then in that particular coach, she was just, might be, I can say that she could have had 101 with her. All right, so she was very surprised. As soon as Alankrita saw Sunidhi, she stood up, taken aback at seeing her childhood best friend standing in the middle of a compartment. So same thing, I would say, that rush of blood ran through both of them because they were totally dumbstruck. They were so much surprised, awestruck in happiness to find, your childhood friend in front of you after such a great span of time. Okay, let's see. The train started moving, but neither of them noticed, lost in the childhood memories revolving around them. Their eyes were full of tears, and just as at any long-awaited reunion, they embraced each other. So that was very common feeling. They just, embraced each other, hugged each other, and they started recollecting. All the childhood memories came back rushing like a real play in front of their eyes. Their eyes were glinting with so much happiness. It brought a smile to the faces of the few passengers sitting near them. So you see, they were not aware of the trail of emotions which they underwent. And I'm actually having lots of words because I can also imagine how they might have felt, isn't it? And during such moment, one tends to uh, feel very much unconcerned, not concerned about what the others would think about them, because you tend to lose track of the other people around you in your environment, right? Because you tend to be so much overjoyed to find your childhood friend, the very person regarding whom you were just thinking and thinking and thinking. Okay, so that happened with these two, Alankrita and Sunidhi. You're still that chubby 16-year-old girl I knew back then. Let's sit down, said Alankrita, shedding happy tears. Sunidhi laughed and guided Alankrita to her seat. A man in his mid-30s was sitting next to her. At Sunidhi's request to move so they could sit together, he immediately got up and sat in the next compartment. So now these two friends, they were sitting together and about to chit-chat. People can sit anywhere when the train is almost empty. I guess that's one advantage of this train, Alankrita said, taking her seat. Sunidhi nodded in agreement. Both of them couldn't stop smiling at the fact that they had met after a whole decade. So you see, 10 years. It really means a lot of time. But you know, children, time flies in thin air, and you hardly can keep a track of it. Let's come back. So, are you settled in Bombay or somewhere else? Asked Suniti. Alankrita replied, no. My parents moved here some years ago and I was visiting them. What about you? Where are you headed? Sunidhi replied, I'm going back home to Delhi. She noticed that Alankrita was wearing a long sleeved blouse and asked, aren't you hot in this type of blouse? So now they are talking about their parents, their setting. So one is in Delhi and the other in Mumbai. Okay, so that is how we are getting connected. Remember Bombay to Agra, and Agra is near Delhi. Let's see. Okay, I'm getting excited. Alankrita continued to smile, but she sighed, which Sunidhi picked up on. Suddenly, the scene of Alankrita being called away from school popped into her mind. Alankrita, why were you called away from school? Why did you never come back? I even came to your house, but your uncle sent me away. Alankrita looked away and stammered. I was sent to boarding school. So now the drama begins. And what was it? The two friends were separated. Alankrita went to her boarding school. That is the reason why she was called back. And she never came back. Okay. Alankrita, I was sent to boarding school. Her hands shook and beads of sweat appeared on her forehead. Sunidhi knew Alankrita was lying. So now this is what is called best friend. And you know, the emotions they started coming back to Alankrita. And Sunidhi offered her friend a bottle of water. Alankrita took it with a shaking hand, and as she put it to her mouth, water splashed onto her sleeve. She started rubbing it without noticing that the sleeve had risen up. Sunidhi's eyes widened as she saw welts on Alankrita's arm. Alankrita quickly pulled down her sleeve, but Sunidhi was still staring at her. So, you see, when your hearts are connected, you can easily spot lies, isn't it? And that is what the author has tried to make us visualize. Imagine, children, your best friend. You're meeting your best friend after a decade, and you were told that she went to the boarding school and all such excuses, all those telltales were spread like rumors, right? And then one fine day, you meet your old friend, all right? And then everything comes back into your mind, all those questions. And then suddenly, supposing if you find a scar here, all right? And then that is being always covered with maybe a hoodie or a scarf, and you tend to ask that, oh my god, it's so hot, why are you putting your scarf like this, just take it out. And then you try to just take it away, and then your friend stops you. Then what will happen? Don't you think you will ask your friend, why, what are you doing, why are you doing so? Oh yes, I got to see something. Come on, let me just show it to me. Show it to me. What happened? Don't you think you will do that? Well, yes. If I would have been in that place, definitely I would ask my friend that, come on, don't lie to me. Tell me what happened. If you share your emotions, if you share your feelings, you tend to feel a little lighter, right? So I would have done that. Let's see what Sunidhi and Alankrita did. Alankrita looked at Sunidhi with fear in her eyes. A painful silence surrounded the two friends. Presently, the ticket collector arrived, asking Alankrita about her seat. Sunidhi explained everything. Her voice had lost all excitement. So now the TT uncle comes into the scene to check their tickets, and then it is checked. As soon as the ticket collector left, Sunidhi gathered all her courage and asked, "What are these bruises about?" Alankrita looked down and took deep breaths, as if preparing to say something. Her eyes welled up and she gulped. "When I was called away from school, I thought my parents were moving somewhere. When I got home, I found that they were marrying me off. I obeyed and I got married. The beating began soon after marriage." So now this is about the physical assault. Okay, the physical assault, which I don't know about everybody, but yes, there are cases about it when or might be due to dowry. It might be say uh, for not doing the house chores on time, and supposing if the parents-in-laws are very demanding and you don't tend to fulfill all those, then what happens? They start all such atrocities, isn't it? And this poor thing, Alankrita, was unfortunately a victim of such atrocities. Okay, Alankrita broke down. Sunidhi sat still. She was shocked. "It has been 10 years since my wedding. My husband beats me every night. I was a burden on my parents, and now I'm a burden on my in-laws. My mother-in-law told me to wear this blouse. It hides my scars and protects her family's reputation." So you see, here what is the scene like? The scene is that the husband is always beating his wife, that is Alankrita, and not only one day, let me tell you children, every day Alankrita was beaten. And then Alankrita is kind of, she cannot share her pain with anyone. Unfortunately, her parents-in-law, they don't support her, and she cannot get back to her parents because her parents sense her to be a liability, a responsibility. So now they are not ready to take her back. So where will Alankrita go, right? So now what happens? Her mother-in-law suggested her to wear full sleeves, full sleeves till here, blouse, so that the scars are not shown to the world. And why is she supposed to do so? You know, the saddest part of the thing is that she was asked to do so, she was bound to do so just to save the reputation of her parents-in-law's family. Such a pity, really. I wish if I would have been there, I would have taught them a good lesson, really. Anyway, Sunidhi was getting angry. It was hard for her to digest the fact that her best friend had suffered so much. Finally, she asked, "Where are you going now?" "Back to my in-laws' house in Agra." So, now from Bombay, Delhi, we are reaching to Agra. Now, who stays in Agra? Alankrita's parents-in-law. Alarm bells rang inside Sunidhi's head. "I can save Alankrita," she whispered. She whispered, "I can save Alankrita." Like this. It kept on hovering in her mind. Well, but first she had to know something. She asked, "Do you have children?" The train stopped. They reached Jaipur. They looked outside. The smell of ghevar made them hungry, so they took out the snacks. As they ate, the train started moving. Soon Alankrita remembered Sunidhi's questions. She sipped some water and replied, "I don't have kids." So one good thing that Alankrita did not have any liability. That means she did not have any kids. So she was free to move back, right? Sunidhi opened her mouth and closed it again. Sunidhi opened like and then closed. Okay. Okay. Alankrita asked, do you want to say something? So Alankrita too was observant because she opened as if to say something and then she kept mum. So she said, no, it's nothing. Actually, why don't you come with me to figure things out? Said Sunidhi. Alankrita shook her head. I can't. She said, I can't. If I do, my parents will have to endure the harsh words of others. It's complicated, Alankrita said, her voice becoming fainter. And not suffocating? It hit Alankrita hard. That word suffocating simply, was as if somebody was pelting stone on her head. Because yes, she was into that suffocation. She wanted to come out. She wanted to breathe fresh air. But she was, bound. She was shackled like this. Okay. Nobody had ever asked her about how much she had suffered. And now that someone had, she was face to face with the truth. That means Alankrita was facing her truth, her reality, which she kept closed, which she kept to herself. She did not allow anybody to barge into it. But yes, she could not stop Sunidhi, a dear old friend, from knowing her, from peeping into her own, peeping into herself. So Sunidhi was such a good friend, isn't it? Alankrita said, you think I haven't tried escaping? I packed my bag and went to the station. I was about to step into the train and realized that I had no other place to go to. That means she realized where would she head to? She couldn't go back to her parents, neither was she interested in staying in her in-laws' place. I tried telling my mother, but she dismissed it. Now, this is typical of Indian mothers. Indian mothers, not, it's just the Indian society is something like this. When you are married, as if it is, you are bound to adapt yourself to the new family to whom you are married to, right? So that's it. And yes, she kept on saying, it's a thing everyone goes through. I have nowhere to go. So she realized that she actually had nowhere to go and she had to get back. Now we move to page number 62. You do now, said Sunidhi reassuringly. Don't live with a monster. He doesn't respect you. Come on. Okay, so Sunidhi is so sweet. She's saying that you do have a place now. That means she was indicating that she could come along with Sunidhi, right? Now Alankrita says, I can't. I just can't. Please try to understand. I'm bound. You see, I'm bound. I can't leave the home of my parents-in-law, right? Stop, said Sunidhi softly, changing tack. Do you remember the day we made models of how our future homes would be? So now she's pinching her to go back down the memory lanes. Yes, they were so nice, Alankrita replied. A smile spread across her face. Well, that plan got ruined. You went to a hell house. So different from the ones we'd built together. I still have them. And it is breaking my heart to think where we are now, Sunidhi said, unable to stop her own tears. So she was feeling very nostalgic. She was feeling very sorry for her friend. She wanted her friend to, you know, try to build, no, I would say try to rebuild the home which she dreamt of. Alankrita gulped and said, "Don't do this to me, please." She begged to her friend like this. She did not want Sunidhi to make her feel nostalgic about those beautiful memories which they had shared during their childhood, right? But then I would say that it's always good to keep your sweet memories as sweet. You should not, you know, keep on fiddling with them when you are sad. Sad in the sense, sad to this extremity, because she was too much in pain. Now, those memories would um, increase her pain. You know why? Because she was feeling so bad, so sad about her. She was feeling so helpless about her own self, that nobody was there to bring her back to a beautiful world outside those atrocities, right? So that is why Alankrita begged Sunidhi that please don't bring back those memories. Let it remain like that. Let it remain closed. Do what? Sunidhi said angrily. Try to make you remember the time when you were actually happy. Try to make you remember when you had fun. Come on, Alankrita. You can always have that fun again. So she was trying to, motivate her to bring her back, to bring back that excitement, that enthusiasm in her. That was very sweet of her. If I just, if I try to be empathetic with Sunidhi, actually she was behaving like a very good friend of Alankrita. She wanted Alankrita to come out of those sad happenings, those years of beatings and pains and all. She wanted her friend to smile back when she would recall those memories. But alas, those memories brought back pain and not happiness. She was angry. Agra was near. Just a few more minutes and they would pull into the station. So now from Jaipur, they are about to reach Agra. The train rolled into Agra station. Only 20 seconds. Look, 20, 20 seconds for Alankrita to decide to either get off or stay on board. What do you think? What would have been her decision? You see, I have not read this story before. This is the first time that I'm reading. I feel that she will not get up. She would not have, stepped out. What do you feel? Let's keep it a secret. Let's see what the young lady, the author, has to say. Sunidhi couldn't bear to watch Alankrita leave. Alankrita was in mental torment. She had to make a decision fast. She saw Sunidhi sobbing. Alankrita too started weeping. So you see, these two sweet friends, they started weeping and sobbing. And it was so difficult to decide for Alankrita whether she had to step down the train or she had to continue the journey with her best friend. Sunidhi realized that the train had started moving. She looked up slowly and saw Alankrita sitting right in front of her. Oh my God. So you see, whatever I thought, that is what the writer also has done. That's so sweet of Sunidhi and Alankrita. Very nice. I really like, happy endings. The tears that had been flowing out of melancholy turned into tears of happiness. Why did you ask if I had kids? Did you think it would be easier for me to leave? Sunidhi didn't say anything. Her smile gave Alankrita that clear answer. They were smiling. They were headed for Delhi now. For Alamkrita, it wasn't just Delhi. She was going to she was going to a new place, a new life. And to this, I would add a new chapter, which Alamkrita was about to start. Very beautiful, very emotional. I must say that the story was very different from the other stories we read, isn't it? Aradhya Sharma seems to be very emotional, as I have, spoken about her, because she's read different genres of stories, so she had that feeling, to captivate the readers. She knew the trick to captivate the readers, right? And let me just, I think, yeah, just like any other teenager, I get anxious about certain things such as clothes or what other people think of me. So I think this has actually, her anxiousness actually made her feel so much emotional, right? Because if you are emotional, then you tend to be anxious about feelings, right? So since she was anxious about so many things, about how people would take her to be. So right now I'm talking about Aradhya Sharma. I'm just trying to, create a bond between her write-up and how she is, how she seems to be to me. So definitely, I think that element of her, as I can, see from her face, she seems to be very emotional. And as she has very clearly pointed out that she gets anxious, that teenager anxiousness is there. And now when a person is anxious about things, so that person tends to be a little bit emotional also. And kudos to you, Aradhya. It was a wonderful story, and I hope my children also enjoyed it really well. So, so that was all about the journey from Bombay to Agra, right? And yes, we did not stop at Agra, but yes, the journey kept on moving ahead. And where did we stop? We stopped at the beautiful, the most important state, the most beautiful place for Alankrita, and that was Delhi, where she was about to start a new chapter of her life. Thank you for being with me. Do go through the PDF and be thorough with all the chapters. Be thorough with the name of the authors, the characters, the plot of the story. Then you might get questions like who said to whom. You might get true and false. You might get fill in the blanks, and rearranging the order. And yes, the order of the like in rearranging, you might be getting only one story, and then reordering the sentences to create that story, to build the story. So, all the very best. Please read, go through all the chapters thoroughly so that you can answer the questions. Till then, happy reading, stay blessed. Thank you, and Jai Hind.